Hi, I'm Waite, author of Online Business Startup, and I'm going to be giving you my top tips for considering bespoke design versus using a template for website development. So my first tip is talking about kind of modern themes. When I say that, I'm talking about themes which you might find on Envato Theme Forest for WordPress, and also Wrap Bootstrap for using much more customizable themes. They've evolved massively, and you can get some really creative and professional looking themes from these sites, which work really well on both mobile devices and on standard kind of PCs and Macs. What I would suggest, though, when you're using themes is to make sure that you only use one if it reflects your business's core message, or that it can actually be adapted to do so. Quite often I see people downloading and installing WordPress and then installing themes which are very disjointed from the brand and the core values that their business is actually portraying. So just make sure that the two are aligned, because it'll just give a true representation of your business when somebody finds you online. There are very kind of specific design trends which are very quickly find their way into these themes and templates. So it's a very good way of being up to date very quickly. So if you think that your theme is kind of a bit out of date, you haven't updated it for 2 or 3 years, I'm sure that you could probably go onto Theme Forest and find a theme which is bang up to date with all the latest technology and design trends which are kind of intrinsically kind of built within them. And also, using a theme, it just removes the element of design time required. So the flip side to a theme is actually getting a design designed for you, a layout designed for you on a bespoke basis, and that can be quite a time-consuming process. So if you install a theme or use a theme on your website, then it just it removes that element of design time. Secondly, I'm just going to be talking about kind of bespoke design and the benefits of that. And the major benefit is that a bespoke design is customized for your business directly. So it will truly reflect your brand very well and represent your core values, your logo, your branding, your color schemes, fonts, and your imagery in a very, hopefully a very personable and accurate way in terms of how your business is portrayed. And also, it tends to be much more flexible in terms of revisions. So bespoke design, by the time you've sliced it up and created a layout from it, is much more lightweight quite often than an installable theme can be. The downside to it, as I mentioned before, though, is it can be quite time consuming to go through that design process. There are ways of speeding that up, though. So within my business, branding is one thing that we do, but we also do design responsive websites. But what we actually do is a prototyping methodology whereby we take a theme which you like the look and feel of in terms of layout, and we combine it with your brand over the course of a 2-day workshop. And by the end of it, we've got a working prototype of your website which really truly represents the core values and the brand values of your business very accurately. The old methods of design used to, and a lot of graphic designers still tend to do this, if they're doing a custom process, is that you send them a brief, they then send you a proposal back, you then accept the proposal, they then do several mock-ups, those come back, you decide you like number 2 and 3, but you like that feature from number 1, and you start this ping-pong match, this back and forth of feature requests and change requests and whatever else, and it can take several weeks or several months. Going through a prototyping process live, whilst you, the client, are sat opposite the designer looking at a computer screen, telling them what to do, just means that there's immediate feedback, and it speeds the process up by a factor of 10. So consider asking your web designer whether they might do a prototyping session with you. Okay, so it takes up 2 days worth of your time, but you'll get exactly what you want out of it. My third tip is to remember the 7-second rule. So the 7-second rule is that when somebody lands on your website, or in fact when they have searched for something on Google and then eventually your page loads up, that they've got 7 seconds to work out who you are, what you do, and what they're going to do on your website next. If you can't get that message across within 7 seconds, then your website has failed, and it's more than likely they're going to go elsewhere and go down to the next search result on Google. So with a theme, when you're customizing it yourself, just remember who we are, what you do, and where you want your customer to go next. And that 7-second rule. And don't forget, if the website doesn't even load within 7 seconds, then you've lost that customer already before they've even got to your website and work out who you are. My fourth tip is to use the KISS principle. So that stands for keep it simple, stupid. If the design becomes too busy and too cluttered, then your core message, i.e. what you want your customer to do next, is going to be lost in amongst all of the noise on your website. And this includes like very wordy websites with lots of features. Maybe there's lots of colors, or maybe there's buttons and calls to actions all over the place. It just becomes very confusing. What you want to do is create a single call to action that draws the website viewer's eye into one specific spot on the page, which maybe links through to a product page or an inquiry form or a download button or something like that. So there's a very clear call to action on it. And typically a complex layout can lead to very complex code which sits behind on the background of the website. This ultimately will make the website run slowly and can potentially result in errors, which will stop certain bits of the website from running. And it may mean that it looks great on a PC or a laptop, for example, or a Mac, but when you load it up on your smartphone, it's all over the shop and doesn't load properly or looks rubbish. So to summarize, themes can look very creative and professional, but you may not get the customization that you're looking for in terms of attaining your brand values. My second tip was about bespoke design. It does tend to reflect your brand very, very well and accurately, and especially if you can do a prototyping session with your designer. My third tip, remember the 7-second rule. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you want the customer to go next? And finally, make sure you use the KISS principles. Keep it simple, stupid. Otherwise, you add extra complexity within your site. You'll confuse your users. So thanks once again for watching the video. I hope you found some of the tips helpful. And if you've got any questions, then please do leave some comments in the boxes below the video. If you want to be informed about any future videos which I upload, then please click here to subscribe. And then finally, if you haven't already, head on over to Amazon using this button just here to buy the book, Online Business Startup. Thanks for watching. I'm Waite.